okay, what we're here to talk about, things we saw at E3 that we didn't talk about on the main podcast. Seems like number one, as far as I can tell, in terms of hype that I personally have, and I'm sorry to be selfish, but Dying Light 2, we didn't really talk about on the podcast.
Number one game of the show for you.
Well,
Incredible.
no, in terms of like games we didn't cover at all.
Bigger show or bigger games.
Yeah, well, so Dying Light, it's the zombie open world parkour game from Techland, and finally this is the sequel.
Yeah, they did one kind of standalone expansion thing earlier, but this is the big numbered sequel to it.
And it's weird that during the press conference, because they were at the Microsoft stage, must have been, yeah. They got out there and like focused on story and like how decisions really going to matter in this game, and you can choose to like cut water off from a population, and then the town will evolve and like physically look different. And Chris Avellone was out there pitching it. It is not the pitch I expected for Dying Light 2.
Yeah, and the one kind of negative thing I have to say is that the demo that they gave, after the press conference and whatever, was pretty much the same thing. It went into more detail about that, and it showed a little bit of combat and stuff. But the big gist and the coolest thing about the new game is that, you're making these kind of story decisions, and they are affecting the actual city in a bunch of different ways.
Does it seem interesting? Did you get to play it?
No, it was a hands-off demo. That story stuff does seem interesting to me because, we make decisions all the times in games, and, in the best case scenarios, it just kind of affects the narrative that you're going down. But this is a world where you have these different factions, and there's kind of a balance in the city between them, and the decisions that you're making are supposed to be affecting them, and you actually get to see that reflected in the city.
And somewhere there are zombies too. Who cares? I don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
That's such a weird trend. Like when you think of games that do I'm not saying that Dying Light 2 is part of this yet, but just really interesting narrative stuff that changes games. Like zombies are usually a part of it.
Right.
Like The Walking Dead, The Last of Us. There seems to be sort of a trend. Yeah. The games that have shaped games forever. Those
storytelling masters. Yeah, that's right. Did they show off any of the interesting climbing mechanics, any of the interesting parkour stuff?
Yeah, and they have twice the number of different parkour abilities that you'll have.
Before it was just on one foot, which I thought was a bad decision on their
Now
part.
you got the left one too.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, they showed some climbing things. They have now kind of parkour puzzles, which you kind of have to go through the environment, almost like the Far Cry towers, except a little more strategic than
Reeves,
that.
you like that? You Mirror's Edge freak?
Well, I was just going to say, since, Mirror's Edge, we didn't get the sequel we wanted, this could be the closest thing to that kind of Mirror's Edge, scratching that itch.
It did remind me while I was
scratching some things.
Yes. It did remind me while I was watching it, it reminded me more of Mirror's Edge than it called to mind, the original Dying Light, because now you're kind of hopping across lampposts and sliding under railings, and there are parkour attacks as well, so you can hop over something and kick a guy off the side of the building.
Did you see any of the stupid weaponry, this stupid amazing weaponry, like that weird electric wrench you could make in the first game? There were some stupid ass weapons in that game.
There was. They didn't show anything of that really, but
still sounds cool.
Yeah. I'm sure it will still be there. And the cities. They had a very mathematical breakdown of the city's 4 times larger than...
Yes! They did it! 4 times!
All the other Dying Light maps together, which the first game had 2 maps, and then the expansion had a map that was twice the size of those 2 maps, and now this one is 4 times the size of all 3 maps.
I've crunched the numbers. It's fun! It equals fun!
There you go.
Did you hear about Fallout 76's world?
No, why?
It's 4 times larger than Fallout 4.
Oh my God! Wait, 4 times 4.
40? Numbers. People love numbers. And if you see a mountain, you can go there, I'm sure.
Very fun. JV, you seem very excited about Generation Zero.
Yeah, that game's pretty cool. It's being done. Avalanche is having a busy year.
Okay, it's crazy because the last time Just Cause 3 and Mad Max shipped both in 2015. It was this is a crazy year for Avalanche. Now Avalanche is at it again with Generation Zero, Rage 2, and Just Cause 4, all in the same window again. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, no, it was really interesting because when I saw the Generation Zero demo, I realized, because I went to Avalanche to see Rage before E3, and I think I might have spied Generation Zero on a computer screen.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what game that is, that guy's playing. Is he playing Stalker? Because that's kind of what what we saw of Generation Zero reminds me is it's a really odd combination of Left 4 Dead with Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl.
So wait, there's zombies in it? So
there are no zombies.
Really good storytelling
no zombies.
Game? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
amazing storytelling. The whole setup is it takes place in the 80s in Sweden. You and your friends, up to 4 people, are teenagers who are coming back from like some midnight camping trip or something. And
sex camp.
Yeah, sex camp. Exactly. Coming back from sex camp.
They got to scratch that
Swedish
itch,
sex camp.
To find that Sweden is desolate, covered in fog, and has been taken over by robots.
Is that different than normal Sweden?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So your job is to find out, A, what happened, like what caused this sort of H.G. Wells invasion, and 2, to, stop it.
Do you get vibes of The Mist with the fog thing?
Not really. Like, it's more of like an atmosphere thing. Like, you can see their outlines in the distance and stuff, but it's not like you take damage, or like it becomes like a viable sort of like hide and seek thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just more of like a setting thing.
A way for the robot eyes to glow in the distance through the fog.
Yeah, and the robot stuff is really cool because it's not just like, I'm hitting a thing with a hit point. They're kind of like the robots in Horizon Zero Dawn. All of them have different functions tied to parts. So if you shoot one in the leg, it'll stop moving, but its weapons will still work. If you shoot one in its scope, its night vision will be disabled. So you and your friends can set traps and like have, your buddy on the ridge take out the robot scope so it's blind, and then have 2 guys rush it with a shotgun.
And is this an open world then?
Yeah, it is an open world, and you're not tethered to each other. So feasibly, this is what they told us, you could have someone on one end of this version of Sweden and another player on the other end, and just playing in the same game. And they showed us this during the demo because they came across a small town, and the objective, it was multi-objective quest that they had to beat to like find a bunker beneath the town. And to do that, you had to accomplish I think it was 4 objectives. So they split up. We saw 2 players. The guy that we were watching went to one side of town, and the other guy went to the other side of town. And we could hear him in the distance fighting robots and completing the objective, like the distant pop of guns.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the space feels like something, again, like Stalker or Arma, where it's like very desolate but beautiful, and there's danger, but you're not sure where, and you have to be tactical. That's what it conjures.
Is there a story, or is it just taking quests?
No, there is a story. Okay. There is a story, but it's part of like the main narrative is like figuring out what happened and like how to stop it. How to stop the invasion.
So it's like a more interesting take on like Wildlands. Like Wildlands with a more interesting setting.
Wildlands?
Yeah, Ghost Recon, that game you played a lot.
Yeah. Sorry. It's sci-fi Wildlands without the bad writing, and even though it like takes place in like the 80s, it's one of those. It's rare to me that like not everything is like splashed with neon. That's really good. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, but it's also
they have rage for that, I guess.
Yeah, rage stole all their neon. But they also have interesting, goofy mechanics. Like to distract the robots, you can pick up boom boxes and throw them, and the robots will go like investigate the boom box as it plays music.
Do they dance?
No, I'm sorry, but like if they're standing next, so like for example during our demo, they threw it next to the boom box next to like a fuse box or like an electrical conductor, and then they shot it as the robots got close, and it took all of them out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
they shot the boombox?
Yeah, they shot the conductor, the electric box behind the boombox.
Okay.
Yeah.
Generation Zero.
Yeah.
It's coming out next year, or did they give a
Yeah, next year, 2019.
That's awesome.
How big is the world?
They said it was pretty big. They won't give like exact estimates, but pretty big.
What about compared to Dying Light, though?
Right.
Oh, probably not nearly that big. I mean, it's 40 people.
All right. I'm going to edit this part out of the podcast. Just the entire section of Resident Evil. What's the point? What's the point of playing it? Reeves, you played Super Meat Boy Forever.
That's right.
This is the game that we've been hearing about forever. This is how would you describe it? Not quite auto-running, but kind of sort of auto-running Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
This is the one that got everyone mad.
Everybody was very mad.
Wait, really? Why?
Yeah, so I'm going to say something. I want you to hold on. It's going to be okay. I'm going to take us through procedurally generated. Hold on. It's going to be okay.
No.
That's the thing that got everybody mad, I think, is because they're like, procedurally generated Meat Boy. That sounds so stupid. But after I was playing it, it feels like a real Meat Boy sequel. Like, it feels really good. It like really scratches that itch for like Super Meat Boy. Because every like level is made out of 100 different like segments of Meat Boy like levels, if that makes sense. And each one is like handcrafted. And so each section feels like a real Meat Boy thing. They're just like randomly strung together.
And it's not auto running. You have full controls. It plays like Meat Boy.
No, it is auto running.
Oh,
so that's the one part that like because it originally began development as a mobile game.
But it's not anymore.
It's still going to release on mobile, but it's actually coming to all platforms now. So it's
Interesting.
auto running. But honestly, that didn't bug me after a while. Like, kind of used to it. He does have a new move. You can like jump and attack enemies like mid jump.
Okay.
So it's very reminiscent of what was the Rayman game on mobile?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Wild Run,
Yeah.
Jungle Run.
Something
yeah.
like that. It's very reminiscent of that, but it has the Meat Boy sort of flavor where like blood's flying everywhere and
That
like
sounds good.
you can play as Bandage Girl as you want if you want.
Did you get any sense, because Tommy from Indie Game the Movie fame, he gave you the demo for it, right?
Yes. Yeah, he's still part of Team Meat, but Edmund is no longer with the company.
Really? Any explanation for what's going on there?
There was some kind of rift between the two.
Which
Yeah.
is weird, because they also had that rift a while back with the composer of the original Meat Boy.
Right. Apparently, the team just fell apart. I don't know what they were doing. over
Yeah.
there. Just, but yeah. So Tommy's still with the company. He's the one. He's like the programmer, but he's hired a couple other artists and stuff.
And is it coming out soon?
It's coming out later this year. They didn't give me an exact date. But
Okay.
if you liked Meat Boy, I think you should be excited for this one.
Yeah, Serve Meat Boy Forever. There we go.
Oh, and it's 4 times bigger than Dying Light.
Yes, finally. Jeff, you saw one of the weirdest games at E3 that I haven't heard a single person say a single thing about. Gearbox is making a new game that's not Borderlands 3.
Perfect summarization.
And this isn't Gearbox Publishing. This is like they're developing
this
this.
is Gearbox.
What is it?
It's for now called Project 1v1. I don't know if that's going to be the name of it, but it is a 1 versus 1 multiplayer competitive shooter.
1v1 one.
Interesting.
Okay.
The kind of the biggest and most interesting gimmick of it is that there is a kind of online lobby where people can watch you playing, watch the 1 versus 1 match, but it's also a queue for who comes in next and plays the winner. So it's kind of like the old school arcade, like the winner keeps on playing and other people come and challenge and you can interact in the
And there's like a
stream or
virtual
whatever.
line of people. I'm trying to envision what this actually
Yeah.
looks like.
So this is what Randy Pitchford's been up to.
I know, guys. I want Borderlands 3 as much as everyone
I
else.
saw that on the schedule. I saw like, oh, Gearbox. Jeff was meeting with Gearbox, and I think I was talking to Cork. He's like, "Don't worry about it. Don't get excited.
Well,
it's not what you want."
I like the idea. Like, I love, maybe it's because I'm a fan of like split screen gaming in general and stuff, but I like a good tense 1v1 every once in a while. So it has potential on that concept.
And it is a shooter in the vein of kind of Quake 3 Unreal Tournament,
Oh,
very
okay.
fast.
I'm out.
Kind of scratches that itch of classic shooters.
It played fine.
Why are you so skeptical?
Because I know that everyone watching is going to sum it up exactly how you did, that they're making a game that's not Borderlands 3.
But is that game's fault?
No, it's not. It's also free to play.
This just gets better.
And you get card packs, which the cards are what give you different abilities.
All right, stop. I don't
and
want to hear that
weapons.
anymore.
Is it on Ouya? Like, how could you make this worse? Like,
Guys, it was fun. I enjoyed.
Oh, it was fun. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at.
I enjoyed
wait,
the.
so it was 4 times bigger than Dying Light's world?
Yes.
Your itch was 4
the maps
times
are very
scratcher?
small, actually, because there's only 2
Oh my
people
God.
running around them. It was fun. They still don't know how they're going to monetize it or how exactly the card packs are going to work and stuff like that. It still has a long way to go, considering it. It's still going by a project name. But it's an interesting experiment. But yes, it's not Borderlands 3.
Okay.
Man, like I like the idea of a 1v1 game in the sense that like I've never seen like a proper dueling game from like the Russian era. That'd be cool to play that, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some indie game.
There's
the
got to be
Russian
something like
era?
that, right?
I mean, there's I think of like
Like War and
Gunslinger.
Peace and stuff.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Call of Juarez, but it's not like multiplayer
Sure.
dueling. Oh, you know what? 1-2 Switch has it. Yeah, that's it.
That's probably the
right.
best implementation.
yeah,
of
of
that,
the dueling game. You're totally right. Reeves. Oh, sorry, JV. Outer Wilds.
Yeah,
What
this
is
is No
this?
Man's Sky, but good.
From who? What is this? Where's it coming from?
Mobius Digital, I think is it's another weird ass game that Annapurna Interactive is like publishing.
Is it big?
When you say big, what do you mean?
I mean, does it feel like an
Map size,
Annapurna game?
Yeah, it feels like 100 times the size of Dying Light 2.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a sense. Is it on the scale of a No Man's Sky? Like
From what I played, that's a hard thing, right?
I know.
Like, I feel like the illusion is strong
Okay.
enough for it
Great.
because, like, you zoom out, so it takes like 10 minutes, and it's very weird. Like, it's such a strange little. it's like if you combined No Man's Sky, but with like the aesthetic, like the banjo Americana aesthetic of like Kentucky Route Zero. It's super weird.
Okay.
hell?
So like you spend like the first
Not quite Space Truckers, but close to Space Truckers?
Yeah, Space Truckers is good.
Okay.
Yeah. So you spend the first 10 minutes on like this backwater planet just like getting your ship ready, and then you blast off and it's like instantaneous. Like you're not like doing that cool thing in No Man's Sky or Infinite Warfare where you're like breaking through atmosphere.
You don't do that at all?
No.
F
Like
that.
I kind of like that though.
Everybody likes that.
yeah, I know it's cool, but like I'm just saying you don't do it.
Uh-huh.
And then you're in space and you're like exploring, and everything is super complicated. Like even just the most basic actions. I'm making this sound really bad, but it's actually
No.
really good.
Okay.
It's really interesting. Like, you know, you can like send your space camera out from your ship to like go take pictures of stuff. You can land on asteroids, land on planets, bounce around in your suit. When you get damaged, your suit takes cracks and stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a game of small details.
Okay.
And I think small details are what matters in like a No Man's Sky sort of game. Like that's why I didn't like No Man's Sky that much, was the grinding, and because like there weren't really that many small details. Like
Yeah.
it was just basically like the basic fantasy of, oh, I'm in my starship and I'm exploring the galaxy, and guess what? There's not that much in the galaxy.
Right.
Whereas like there feels like there's just so many nice touches in this game that makes it feel like the spaceship feels like home.
Well,
And like I want to constantly explore the system and see what's out there. And it's not procedurally generated. It's like a crafted universe.
Really?
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't even seem possible.
But are
Like-
you just getting points for exploring? Or
There's a
what's the
narrative
loop?
hook.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that narrative ends, but they did
Okay.
say there's a narrative. But
Huh.
like I'm super into it. Like
There
I
we go.
played like 20 minutes of it. Kato was super into it. Like it looks real good.
what was that called again?
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds.
Good luck remembering it.
All
Do you know
right.
if it's coming out this year?
I think it's 2019.
Okay.
I think.
Outer Wilds.
Yeah.
All right. One to remember. Anything else? Highlights of E3 we haven't covered? I played Hitman 2. I was very bad at it. It feels like more Hitman. I think Hitman fans will like it, but I don't know what else there's to say. I sniped a race car driver and it was funny.
Total War was more Total War, and it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played My Friend Pedro.
Oh,
Kind of
yeah.
that looks
crazy
cool.
Devolver Digital. Yeah, it looks cool. I think the controls are a little rough or need some work, but it's like a 2D Max Payne.
It looked a little floaty.
It's also a little floaty. You could use some tiny. It's only one guy though, so it's like impressive just on that level.
Yeah.
The coolest thing was there's one level where I was in the basement and there's like two guys above me. I took a frying pan, threw it up in the air, and shot the frying pan, and my bullets ricocheted off that and hit them.
That's very good.
Like there's a lot of cool things like that in that game. Like it could be really fun.
I saw there was a talking banana as well. Is that Pedro?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't as into him, but
Just not that into
I wasn't
you, Pedro.
bananas for that guy.
I
He wasn't
understand.
scratching any itches.
Jeff, and what's one other game you played at E3 but we haven't talked about?
I played the new Tomb Raider, and I did better at the demo than Shay did.
That's
So,
all that matters. Did he
Yes.
cry?
Low bar.
Did he talk to you too much about it?
he complained to everyone that it was very confusing what you were supposed to do.
It's
They were all like,
Tomb
"What?"
Raider.
Yeah.
How do you?
You raid the tombs, Shay. Come down here. March to that
I
door
will-
right now if you aren't
That's
a
right.
coward.
I
You
will
should be
s-
ashamed of yourself.
I will say the high point of that Square Enix conference, outside of that horrendous Quiet Man trailer
Man.
that Leo lost his mind over,
It's so funny.
was when they took the time during the Tomb Raider trailer to assure us that there would be tombs to raid. Like that was actually the phrase. I was just like, thanks, guys.
Don't you worry.
Also, it was frustrating in their demo. I forget if it was that or Microsoft where they were like, you're going to be exploring some of the series' biggest hubs. It's like, what? Like, all you have to compare it to is the last one. So apparently it's smaller than that. Like, unless I'm not thinking of some Tomb Raider game from the past that has a giant open world or
Those
something.
hubs weren't super small or anything.
No,
It's
they
not
were
like-
good size. Like,
Yeah.
that's fine. It's just a
But
weird
also,
framing.
I don't need like bigger hubs in like Tomb Raider.
Right.
Like, I just want fun gameplay.
Hubba
More
hubba.
tubes.
Give me some hubs.
Yeah. That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.